Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly news recap, the 25th to the 31st of March 2024. You think I'm late, but I'm not late. The clocks went forward an hour because we're still doing that for some reason. Anyway, it's not 1 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock. Anyway, moving in. News. What is happening this week in the video games? NetEase showed off a trailer for Marvel Rivals. Coming to PC for now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this hitting consoles at some point soon. So Marvel Rivals is effectively Overwatch, but Marvel characters. That's kind of it. They are very much copying Overwatch here, but since Overwatch is shitting the bed right now, I guess somebody has to jump in and take the reins. It does seem like it's going to be third person though, which is it's obvious because superheroes, they're going to want to show off the characters and the skins and what have you and all that shit. One thing that does kind of set them apart a little bit from Overwatch are these kind of team up attacks that you can do. Characters can, if you're on the same team, you can team up to do like synchronized attacks and stuff like that. We don't know too much else about the game right now. It is going to be a free-to-play hero shooter type thing, like Overwatch and so on. The full roster also not particularly clear yet. You've seen, obviously, there are some well-known characters here. There are some not so well-known characters here. You've got the Avengers, you've got Loki, Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that. And then you've got other less-known characters. Names for I fucking escaped me now. Who's the one with the sword called? Fuck. Her name's not called Fuck, obviously. It's not something like Saber or Portal or something like that. Oh, that's Magic? Okay, no, that's not Magic. I was thinking of somebody else. All right, anyway. Lots of other people. Again, we don't know just yet. That's not Galactus, by the way. That's Galacta, Galactus' daughter. Everyone keeps saying, oh, they yassified Galactus. They didn't. They didn't. That's not Galactus. Anyway. Nerd powers. I gotta redeem myself a little bit. Moving on. Also announced this week, Metal Hellsinger is getting a VR port to pretty much all the major VR platforms. Also PSVR 2, which is also appreciated because kind of looking for more games to play on that. Anyway, Metal Hellsinger, if you're not familiar, is a rhythm action shooter. There have been quite a few of them at this point now, but Metal Hellsinger is probably one of the better ones. Obviously, if you don't like heavy metal, you're probably not going to enjoy it too much, but if you're into heavy metal, you'll probably know a lot of the artists featured on its soundtrack, and the gameplay is pretty fun as well. Think of it as Diablo with even more heavy metal than usual, I guess. Or more varied heavy metal, we'll say. It's not all Mick Gordon stuff. Anyway, that'll be interesting. I don't think it has a release date yet. No, they would have shown it there. Coming soon. This year at some point. Looking forward to that, actually. This is more of a reminder or PSA kind of thing. Stellar Blade, the next kind of big Sony PS5 exclusive thing, has a demo available now. The demo was launched on Friday. I have not had a chance to play it yet. It's only Sunday. But from what I've seen from social media, Twitter, Tumblr, and so on, plays a bit like Sekiro. Plays a little bit more like Sekiro than I was expecting. I kind of from what I had seen from the gameplay, it did feel a lot more Sekiro than, say, I don't know, older God of Wars and stuff like that. A lot of people were thinking that it was going to be more of a hack and slash thing. This seems like no, you are really going to have some tactics in mind if you're going to be playing it. I am going to give this a shot later today, and well, the game itself will be out the end of April, so we'll probably do a fully play as a bit of it, and then if I'm liking it, then we might turn it into a full Let's Play. But right now, end of March. Oh, no, that's the demo. The game itself is at the end of April. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, one sec. OBS is being a little weird. Okay, I think we're okay. We're okay. All right. Moving on. So Undead Inc. We had a look at this a while ago. It was done as I think I was looking at it as part of Future Game Show or maybe PC Gaming Show. I'm not sure. Undead Inc. is effectively a management type thing. So think sort of the management end of like XCOM, but then also a fair bit of like theme hospitals going on in there as well. But the kind of gimmick for this one is that what if you were Umbrella from Resident Evil. You were running their pharmaceutical companies, and on one end you have like the stuff that they sell to the greater public, their pills and medicines and what have you. But then on the other side you have your bioweapons research kind of thing, and sometimes the bioweapon research gets a little out of hand, and you got to step in and so on. So it's got a little bit of base management, and then you do have sort of teams that go out and sortie and kind of like that kind of thing. If you've played the Bethesda mobile games, so Fallout Shelter, and I believe there's an Elder Scrolls skin of that as well, it feels like it's going to be a bit like that. I think it'll be a bit of fun. It's out pretty soon, so we'll take a look at that when it's out. We might do a Fully Plays Games a bit of it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how much it costs, to be perfectly honest, because I'm having to be a little budget conscious when it comes to the Fully Plays Games a bit. Anyway, this was my full-time job. This will be a little bit different, but it's not. Speaking of undead things, Predator Hunting Grounds is back from the dead. Ilphonic, the original developers, is now also becoming the publisher. It's taking over publishing rights from Sony Interactive Entertainment, who held them for the 2024 game. It's kind of interesting because Sony were all in on live action stuff not too long ago, remember? Very famously said they had 12 live action games in development, even though they had this one just sitting there doing nothing for years. But yeah, Ilphonic are essentially taking over publishing rights, so it is technically now an indie game, since they are now developer and publisher of Predator Hunting Grounds. If you are not familiar with Predator Hunting Grounds, which you may not be because it's been a while since it's been in the limelight, so to speak, it is an asymmetric multiplayer type thing. So you have one player who plays the Predator, and then you have another team. I think it's two sets of teams that are playing Marines effectively, and the Marines have their own goals, their own objectives, and what have you, to collect contraband or take out terrorists or what have you, that kind of thing, which is a pretty standard team deathmatch situation. Not team deathmatch, team objective thing. And then you have one person playing the Predator, whose objective is to kill everybody, obviously. And the Predators all have their own different skill sets, their own different abilities, their own little tech stuff. They don't all play the same Predator. There's different types of Predator, different type of Marines, and so on. I think it was received pretty well. It was a bit jank, to be fair. So hopefully they can firm that up a little bit. I still kind of just want a single-player Predator game, to be perfectly honest. Just make it Dishonored or Tenchu or something like that, just a full-on stealth Predator game. Just give me that. I'd love it. I'd buy it immediately. I don't care how jank it is. I'll buy it straight away. Okay, anyway, moving on. The free Epic game this week is a game called Islets. Take to the sky and reunite a fragmented world in this surprisingly wholesome Metroidvania. Oh shit, it's a Metroidvania. Okay, I might have to play this. Crap. Help Ico adventure across... Ico or Ico, not sure. Help Ico adventure across beautiful hand-painted islands, receive letters from quirky... there's a quirky cast of characters too? Fuck. And face powerful, monstrous adversaries. Okay, I might have to actually play this. Like a lot of the free Epic games I never play. I add them to the library and I'm like, yep, cool. I'm never playing it. It's free, so I'm gonna add it. I have a weakness for Metroidvanias, what can I say? Alright, anyway, that's Islets. PlayStation Plus refresh this month for April. So this is PlayStation Plus Essential. This is the lowest tier for PlayStation Plus and is required if you want to play the vast majority of online games. And for that, that's the stick to get you to, put some money in and subscribe and allegedly pay for maintenance for their servers. Yeah, sure, that's what you're doing. But whatever, they'll entice you a little bit by giving you some free games for the month. So to entice you, you can play Immortals of Avium. God. Remember when this was sold for 80 fucking euro, $80, 80 pounds? Anyway, now it's not even 6 months, I think, since it's been released, and now it's on PlayStation Plus. I did say it. I did say it would end up on PlayStation Plus pretty soon. Anyway, this is effectively Call of Duty, but magic. And without the multiplayer part, so single-player Call of Duty with magic instead of guns. But the magic plays like a gun, so it's just Call of Duty. Anyway, Minecraft Legends is all the parts of Minecraft you don't like. Doesn't really have much of the building aspect to it. So Minecraft Legends is this the strategy game or is it the Diablo clone? It's the strategy game. So yeah, think like StarCraft, I guess, for Minecraft Legends, but way simpler because it's aimed at a younger demographic. Not entirely sure who they're trying to aim this game at, because strategy gamer people are going to want something way more complex than Minecraft Legends, and people who are into Minecraft just want to build shit. I'm not sure who this is for. Anyway, and then Skull the Hero Slayer, Demon King Castle Defense. Is this a castle defense thing? I always thought Skull was a platformer type thing. An attack on the Demon King's castle by a heroic band of adventurers has seen all but one of its denizens captured and imprisoned. Now as a lowly skeleton, you must save your demonic brethren. Yeah, it's an action platformer. That's what I thought it was. Ever-changing map, growing arsenal of abilities. It's got some roguelike stuff to it, each with its own... Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's an action platform type thing. So Metroidvania without the backtracking, basically. Just the best part of Metroidvania. And then some Overwatch 2 packs, but as we said, Overwatch is kind of shitting the bed these days. Moving on. Those are some of the games you can play soon. But what if you wanted to play something right now? You can play Pepper Grinder. So Pepper Grinder launched for Nintendo Switch and PC this week. We played a little bit of it during Steam Next Fest. It is a kind of pretty fast-paced platformer type game. You have a kind of drill as your main means of locomotion, transportation, what have you. You can see they're acquiring there. And you use that to sort of dolphin swim your way through a lot of the maps and levels and stuff like that. You do sometimes gain different gimmicks with your with your Pepper Grinder grinding machine thing. As you can see, you have a grapple thing in some cases. Sometimes you can stick it into a minigun and it becomes a gun somehow. Don't ask questions, it's not important. No gameplay in this trailer, which is a little frustrating, unless they have it all at the end. No? Okay. Anyway, it's very good. It was very, very good when we played it on Next Fest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this probably in my spare time, to be fair. And then also, we recently played through Stasis Bone Totem for Foley Fables, which is where we play games that have a strong narrative focus. And now it is available on consoles. So previously, it was only a PC-only type game. So Stasis Bone Totem is a point-and-click adventure. It is a very gory point-and-click adventure game. It's extremely well written, very good story, very off-putting. You know, if you're not into horror, you mightn't like this one too much, particularly body horror. Anyway, it's set in an oil rig. Everybody remains shocked. There's some shenanigans going on in this oil rig. Some Cthulhu shenanigans are going on in the oil rig. And maybe you shouldn't have come there, and maybe you're going to regret going there. Anyway, I thought it was a really good game. We only recently finished it this week, but I'm definitely going to go back for trophy. Because I hate myself, I guess. Alright, anyway, moving on. It is now, unfortunately, time to talk about the worst parts of video games. The video game industry. So, some more companies are being sold off. Because Embracer are fucking idiots. But anyway, Take-Two to acquire Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million. Which seems like a lot of money, because it is. That is a lot of money. But you should keep in mind that Embracer initially paid $1.3 billion for Gearbox. Yeah, that's considerably less than half of what they actually paid to acquire it. Anyway, Take-Two to acquire Gearbox. Something to keep in mind, Take-Two have been working with Gearbox for a long time. Gearbox might be familiar with the name, but you're probably familiar with their games. They make Borderlands, among other things. And Take-Two are the publisher for the Borderlands games. So they've been working together for a long time. So this really just... I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for Take-Two to take them on. They're already working together on another Borderlands game and probably another Wonderlands game. On top of this acquisition, though, Take-Two will also take ownership of various IPs, Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem, alongside anything Gearbox make in the future as well. According to Take-Two, Gearbox are working on 6 titles, 2 Borderlands games, so it's said whatever's going to be Borderlands 4, and probably a Wonderlands sequel. 2 Homeworld titles. I'm not familiar with Homeworld. I think it's a space strategy thing. Plus at least 1 new IP, which I don't think we've heard anything about any of their new IPs and stuff. As pointed out here by Christopher Dring for Games Industry, Embracer Group originally picked up Gearbox in a deal potentially worth $1.3 billion in 2021. They say potentially because a lot of it was based on performance, and then some of it was in shares and that kind of thing. So it wasn't exactly 1.3 billion in cash, but still, that's a lot of money. Selling off Gearbox is obviously part of Embracer's ongoing restructuring plan because, oh dear, we fucked up, and the people responsible for fucking up are keeping their jobs and everyone else isn't. So yeah, it is funny to shit on Embracer, and we're going to shit on Embracer a little bit more, but it is important to also point out that Take-Two had the money to buy Gearbox, even though they laid off a bunch of people earlier this year and last year because they didn't have enough money to pay them. But they had 460 million sitting around somewhere doing nothing to buy Gearbox. Okay, we'll just leave that there. Anyway, as I said, shitting on Embracer. So Embracer CEO says it's too early to start buying studios again. No shit. Really. Fuck's sake. Alright, so this was actually in response to investors who were asking when are we going to be acquiring more studios and what have you. And the response was, it's too early to start talking about marketing and acquisitions anymore. So the deal marked the end of a 9-month, this deal being selling off Gearbox. The deal marked the end of a 9-month money-saving operation, allegedly. It saw the sale of a closure of many studios, cancellation of nearly 30 games, and more than 1,300 job cuts. It's well more than 1,300. It's closer to 2,000, I think, at this point. Anyway, so this was part of an investor call because it's the end of March. This was, of course, the reason so many studios laid off a bunch of people, which was to juice their numbers for the end of the quarter. That's not what they're going to say. They're not going to say that part. That's the quiet part. They're not going to say that bit out loud. Anyway, since somebody, one of the investors, or multiple investors possibly, were asking when are they going to get back to mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that, CEO said it's too early to be thinking about restarting the mergers and acquisitions engines again. I would think it's not even too early. It just shouldn't even be there. There shouldn't even be a concept of time related to the mergers and acquisitions engine. It should be so far away that you're not even thinking about it. It's not even in the head at all. You guys fucked up massively. Ruined so many studios and employees' lives, developers' lives, QA teams, marketing teams, and so on. You shouldn't even be thinking about this. It shouldn't even be a concept of early or not. Anyway, just to see that money it's just not enough. It's just not enough. They've just got done recovering from a massive fuck up, and investors are still all in on, yeah, but when can we ruin more people? When can we do that? Capitalism was a mistake. Moving on. Speaking of capitalism being a mistake, Sega sells Relic Entertainment, lays off 240 staff across the European studio. So this is another studio that has bought themselves out from a bigger publisher. So Relic Entertainment have gone in with an external investor to buy themselves out of Sega for... The amount is not mentioned because they're a privately owned company and they don't have to tell anybody. But it is going to result in the loss of 240 roles. I don't know why it would. Why would Sega get to decide layoffs if the company's being sold. Surely the company should be. Maybe it's intermediaries, people who would still be working for Sega, who would liaison with Relic Entertainment. Maybe they're the people who are losing. Again, it's not clear. And again, because Relic are private, and I think Sega aren't private. They're a public company. They should have to say who it is. It's probably because it's across European studios. They still have to iron out who exactly is getting laid off. It's not like in the US where you can just say, "Lol, you're laid off." In a lot of European countries, EU countries, you kind of have to, talk about these things. Anyway, most of the layoffs are across Creative Assembly and Sega of Europe. Creative Assembly is a subsidiary of Relic Entertainment, so it's still kind of curious why Sega are allowed lay off them when technically they don't own them anymore. Anyway, Relic Entertainment have gone in with an external investor, which is always a little worrying, because external investor could also mean investment fund, hedge fund, equity people, who are just looking to gut the company. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out, but obviously it's not great news. Relic Entertainment, for their part, have said that they will keep supporting the games that they currently have under a deal with Sega Publishing. It's not clear if publishing will revert to Relic or Sega are going to keep the publishing rights for those games. I guess we'll see as things progress. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Sega and the Communication Workers Alliance, I think, agree on first major US game dev union contract. Again, it's first major, possibly. There's a few that are definitely in the works that probably predate this agreement, but I think they're the first one to get like an actual commitment from the parent company, Sega, in this case. I know Activision and Microsoft have their own union deals currently being worked out, negotiated, but I don't think they actually have an agreement yet, so technically these guys are first. Anyway, the Allied Employees Guild Improving Sega, or Aegis, that's a laboured one anyway, has ratified their collective bargain contract, so you may or may not be familiar with how unions work, but unions have to vote on a deal. So the union representatives and the company representatives get together to figure out what the contract will be, what the deal will be for union people, and so on. And then that has to be taken back to the union as a whole, and the union has to vote on it. And if it's majority by certain percentage, it's ratified. And in this case, it has been ratified. So he just calls this the first developer union contract as a major US games firm, which is probably true. I don't think we need to check. It's probably true. Anyway, some things they're going to get out of the deal. Base pay raise for every employee in the unit. That's 150 or so employees. Ust-cause protections. Ust-cause. Not just cause. Ust-cause protections. I wonder if they'll use that as a loophole. Anyway, Ust-cause protections against arbitrary discipline and discharge. So this is you just being fired for no reason or punished for no reason and so on. You have to, actually come up with a reason for it. Layoff protections, including severance, which is something the EU and Japan in particular, enjoy, which is not something that the US currently does as a matter of law. It's left up to the company themselves to do it. This is why they were able to do so many layoffs in the US and not so many in Europe and Japan. Anyway, crediting commitment to all staffers who worked on a game, including early QA testers. This is getting your name in the credits. A lot of the time, QA don't get their name in the credits. Particularly if you were on the project early and then were moved on to a different project, you still won't get your name in the credits of the original game, even though you worked on it. So this is to make that fair. It's kind of used as a way to sort of. It's a bit of like a dark pattern kind of thing for QA in that they don't credit you on the game to sort of keep you in the company. Because if you're able to point to games you worked on as part of your resume and so on, you can say, look, my name is literally in the credits. Like, that's me right there. Whereas if you can't do that, it's harder to prove that you actually worked on the game and what have you. Anyway, various codified benefits around an annual bonus plan, retirement plan, health insurance, and so more. and so on, really. So more? Anyway, those are your various employment perks, loyalty perks. I've been working for the company for X number of years. I should be getting this month's annual leave, that kind of thing. A commitment by management to ensure advance notice of any planned use of AI in the workplace, which is one that you wouldn't necessarily see in previous union deals. This is kind of new because of the shitty technology that everyone's trying to force on us now. Say everyone, it's just assholes in management and executive positions who don't understand the work itself and only ever cared about the result and don't even particularly care about the quality of the result, or just trying to force AI on everybody now. Anyway, a commitment by management to ensure advanced notice. It's not a commitment to not use it, which isn't, concessions need to be made, I guess, here, but anyway, the vast majority of that is very good stuff. This last one, not great. I don't know how AI was going to do fucking QA, though. Like, you've seen what it puts out. Like, its own output needs QA. Never mind it trying to do QA for other things. Right, moving on. All right, we're still with the layoffs, unfortunately. Big shakeup at Nintendo testing center ahead of Switch 2. So this is Nintendo of America specifically. Nintendo of Japan and Europe are not affected, as far as I'm aware, because U.S. employment law. Anyway, Nintendo of America is restructuring their small army of contractors that help test its games and hardware. So this is specifically the QA team. Again, the QA team always gets shafted in software in general. But, we're not talking about video games. Anyway. There's going to be a massive downsizing in their testing team. This comes with a lot of layoffs and a lot of people being moved around. These changes will involve some contractor assignments ending, as well as the creation of a significant number of new full-time employee positions. What's a significant number to Nintendo? I'll remind everybody that 1 is a significant number, technically. We're going by the mathematical definition of what a significant number is. The number 1 is a significant number. All right, anyway, this comes from a long call on the company to make full-time red badge employees. So full-time employees at Nintendo have a red badge to denote their names. Contractors typically have a white badge, and this is kind of used as a way to discriminate against the teams and so on. A sort of small amount of bullying, discrimination, or large amount, depending on how you look at it, I guess. If you're on the receiving end of it, it probably doesn't feel like a small amount. Anyway, this instead of exploiting loopholes in the seasonal work requirements, this was effectively them not allowing contractors to have an unbroken streak of employment with the company or work with the company. So they would, after 9 months, stop the contract, wait a couple of months, start the contract again. So they'd never have an unbroken thing. So they could never say, hey, you want to make me a full-time employee or what? You got to put a ring on it and so on. Anyway, they don't do that. So for a long time they didn't. Now it seems that they're changing their mind. I would imagine this is probably going to coincide with the Switch 2 eventually ramping up. The layoffs are mostly coming for the fact that the Switch 2 was delayed. This is, again, it's a rumor. They never announced it. They have never even announced there's a Switch 2 in the first place. This is mostly internal rumor speculation that Switch 2 was allegedly going to be coming out later this year. Christmas time. Or holiday time. But a lot of the first party games that were going to be launching with it weren't ready yet, so they delayed it to 2025, which smells a lot like the GameCube. Pretty sure the GameCube did the exact same thing. Anyway, they've reorganized their product testing functions. So they've dropped off a lot of people. Some people are going to be converted to full-time employees. A lot of them are not. People converted to full-time employees is mostly probably to keep them in NDAs, have them do initial early testing of the Switch 2, and then probably hire back a bunch of contractors when they go into full-on production for the Switch. Anyway, most of these being converted to full-time status appears to be getting moved out of software testing, so they're probably being moved into hardware testing instead. This doesn't appear to impact any existing full-time employees, so it's just the contractors getting fucked over here. It's not the full-time employees. They're not being touched. They said there have been no new major first-party games in the testing pipeline. Again, this kind of coincides with the internal speculation that Nintendo have mostly moved on entirely to Switch 2, whatever it's really gonna be called. but most of their first-party developers are working on games for the Switch 2, so they don't have anything to test basically right now. But also pointed out was that they weren't sure how Nintendo of America would be able to continue their bigger games, such as Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, that kind of thing. Again, as I said, they're going to rehire a bunch of these contractors later on, just to break up their employment streak so they can't necessarily apply to be full-time. Anyway. Blech. Oh, that was cold. Anyway, moving on. Alright, talking about all of these layoffs and what have you. Well, Phil Spencer accidentally does say the loud part. Or, sorry, says the quiet part out loud. Xbox claims mass layoffs were the outcome of a concerning lack of industry growth. Oops. Oops. Wasn't that we hired too many people or grew too fast? No, apparently we didn't grow at all. They needed money. Make the numbers look better for the investors. Anyway, ultimately they were the result of a lack of growth in the industry, apparently. Wasn't okay for them to make a lot of money. They had to make more money than they did last year, and spoilers, they did make more money than they did last year, but okay. Phil Spencer in an interview with Polygon. The reason we're not using Polygon here is because Polygon don't respect my cookies policy. Anyway, Spencer said lack of industry growth was forcing publicly traded companies across the industry to cut costs, forcing them to. They don't have any legal responsibility to do this. It's an accepted economics thing that you're supposed to maximize shareholder revenue or whatever, shareholder profits or what have you. There's no legal requirement to do that. You don't have to be an asshole. But apparently they're being forced to do this. Game developer Farhan Noor keeps a website called videogamelayoffs.com that essentially does what it says on the tin. It tracks all the layoffs that have been happening since the end of 2022. 10,500 games industry employees have been laid off in 2023, and just into 2024, we're up to 8,000. Not great. Possibly we're going to surpass that number from last year. From Phil Spencer, I'll say the thing that has me most concerned for the industry. This is his most concern for the industry. I want you to think about in your head what you would find the most concerning thing about the video game industry. Okay. Is the lack of growth. Yeah, that wasn't up there, surprisingly. Wasn't top 20 even. Anyway, it's not even the top 100 to be honest. Industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars. Is it? Is it? I don't think so. Anyway, you get a lot of publicly traded companies in the industry that have to show their investors growth. They have to. Have to show it. Can't just be like the grown-up in the room and go, guys, the number can't always go up. This is bad. Things grow exponentially like this. It's bad. If it happens in your body, it's cancer. It happens in your oven, you put too much yeast in your bread. Like, there shouldn't be infinite growth all the time. This is bad. Just think if you got taller every night, forever, never stopped. You're dead pretty soon, right? This isn't good. Numbers should not always go up. This is bad. And then he throws in a complete bullshit line here. I reflect on friends of mine in the industry that have been displaced and lost their jobs. Who? Who, Phil? Who are you friends with in the industry that has lost their job? Come on. Come on. You are at best friends with executive level people. There's no way they lost their job. Fuck off, Phil. I don't want this industry to be a place where people can't, with confidence, build a career. Stop laying people off. Stop doing it. You're responsible for 2,000 of them with Activision. You didn't have to do that. You used the bullshit excuse that said Activision had already agreed to lay these people off. You could have stepped in and said no. Could have. That's why I keep pivoting back to how does this industry get back to growth? Why do you keep pivoting back to that? Can you not pivot back to why is the industry so shit? Why do we treat our people so badly? People who make the things that make us the money in the first place, let's fire them. And we'll keep the people who just scrounge. Is there really an outcome claiming that the industry is not growing? And then to point out from gamesindustry.biz, the global games market generated an estimated $184 billion in 2023, representing an increase over 2022. They made more money last year than they did the year before. That's growth. They're complaining there's no growth. Greed. It's just greed. That's all it is. And it's extremely annoying. Not annoying. Frustrating. Maddening. Rage-inducing. Moving on. I hate this guy's face. Anyway, you can now own a digital bobblehead of the man that laid off 900 people at PlayStation right before he retired. I want to celebrate that. Definitely. So this is part of PlayStation Star's digital collectible thing that's definitely not an NFT. Definitely not. We definitely didn't think NFTs were going to be a thing, and we built a load of shit and a whole system around it, and then found out that no, literally nobody wants them. Anyway, their last major act, Jim Ryan's last major act at the company, was laying off 900 people. This is, of course, referring to all of the PlayStation layoffs that happened recently. Even at the same time that the layoffs were happening, prior to that, only a week prior to that, he was at London studio, a studio he visited and happily smiled in photos with less than a week before this news. But yeah, thanks for the bobblehead of this prick. Who are we celebrating here? We're not celebrating the developers. You know, we're not celebrating the people who make the games in the first place, the people who made the brand what it is. The brand. People who made PlayStation what it is. The games that made PlayStation what it is. No, we're celebrating the guy who completely changed the tone of the company, shifted the headquarters from Japan over to the US. And a lot of people at PlayStation in America seem to just think PlayStation started there. It started at the PS4? Why did we start at the 4? That's weird. Why didn't we start at 1? Huh, that's weird. Okay, anyway, moving on. Oh, maybe check into that or anything. Maybe see what PlayStation was like before that. Anything? No? No. Of course not. Let's not do that. Let's assume that there's never been any franchise before Horizon or Last of Us. I mean, even Uncharted doesn't even get name checked anymore by PlayStation. Like, anyway, you can drop all of that more or less at Jim Ryan's door, as well as their 12 games in development for live services. That's all him too. And the reason they're quiet on that now is because he's retiring. But yeah, cool. Let's celebrate him. Moving on. Let's celebrate the guy who ruined 900 people's lives. Remedy details Control live service multiplayer spin-off. So, this is a little concerning. Anyway, we'll talk about the game itself. So, currently it's codenamed Condor. We don't really know what it's going to be controlled. It's hard to say call and control at the same time. I assume it's gonna be referred to as Control something at some point, but right now it's just called Condor. It's an upcoming live service multiplayer game. It's built on Remedy's own engine, the one they use for Alan Wake and Control. That in and of itself is a little worrying. It's only ever been used for single player games, pretty high fidelity single player games. Anyone who's played Control and, well, the original Alan Wake, I haven't played the second Alan Wake, so I can't say for certain what that's like. Performance isn't exactly amazing. Looks good. Looks really good. There are frame rate drops a lot, just saying. And in a live service multiplayer setting, that's gonna be painful. So this is one question, is whether their own internal engine is up to the task in the first place. But the other issue is that live service games have a massive tail of support, which requires a pretty large team. And the bigger the game, obviously, the bigger the team. And I don't think Remedy's team is that big to support a live service thing. Like, it's gonna either be everyone has to support this live service game, or nobody does. Like, is the team big enough to support that? Alright, so the gist of the game is after the Hiss invasion, the oldest house is under lockdown, yada yada yada. You're one of the Federal Bureau of Control grunts, effectively having to push back against the Hiss. So this sounds like it's going to take place before Control. Before Jesse gets there and fixes everything. You're going to be there just holding out, I guess, which kind of is a question of kind of story it's going to have, or is it just going to be more of a holding pattern kind of thing? Condor won't be a free-to-play title. You will have to pay for it, though it won't be the full-on price thing. So the premium games will have a lower initial price, but a long tail of revenue. So there'll be microtransactions and expansions and that kind of thing. But it'll probably start initially as a 30, 40 euro thing. I don't think you're going to be seeing this as a 70, 80 euro type thing. In addition, the studio also has 2 paid DLC expansions for Alan Wake 2, known as Night Springs and Lake House. That was news to me. I didn't know there was Alan Wake 2 DLC along the way, so I don't know. If you were similarly didn't know, well, now you do. My concern here is basically what Naughty Dog said for why they cancelled the Last of Us live service thing, was that they didn't want to become a live service support developer. And that's what they would have had to do to support the game. And Naughty Dog's a big studio. There's like hundreds of developers at Naughty Dog. And Remedy, I don't think is that big. It's maybe 100. And they're working already on Alan Wake 2, whatever the Control sequel is going to be, the Max Payne 1 and 2 remasters, and now also Condor. Like, how much of the team is going to stay there to support the game? Because you're going to need to keep a decent chunk of the original dev team around to support, to, you know, fix bugs and make new shit. As we saw with Warner Brothers and Multiversus, they weren't able to keep up with the just rampant desire that has been instilled in people who play live service games, that they need something new constantly, where the game is dead, you know? To keep up with that kind of cadence, I mean, I think it's correct to sort of pull back on that, but unless there's a concerted effort across the industry to pull away from that kind of thing, you're kind of just going to be left outside, left alone. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong, and, you know, Remedy do fine and actually do well, and they can use the money from Condor to, you know, fund Control 2 or, you know, whatever. Keep people paid through, you know, not the downtime, but the time in between where they're, you know, in development mode or in production mode or concepting phases where they're not necessarily making money, you know, because they've made all their money when they launched Control. They made all their money when they launched Alan Wake 2. And now they have to wait to make more money making their next game. And they still got to pay, you know, still got to pay people their salary, you know, and pay the various bills and what have you, marketing to keep Alan Wake 2 being bought by other people who haven't bought it yet, like myself, and so on. So if this facilitates that, great, and I hope that's essentially what they're doing with it. My concern is just that it will detract from development on their other games. / they won't be able to develop their other games because they need to support this thing. Sam Lake seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. I don't think it'll be an issue, but I guess we'll find out. In better news, at least, Blockbuster Indie Games Showcase for the Triple I initiative, set for April 10th. So this is a showcase, you know, like Future Game Show, like Summer Games Fest, that kind of thing. But this is focusing specifically on indie games. This is being backed, I guess you might say, by people from Megacrit, Red Hook Studios, Poncle, a couple of other ones. So that's the people behind things like Slay the Spire, behind Darkest Dungeon. Can't remember what Megacrit have made. Anyway, what the fuck did Megacrit do? Oh, sorry, Megacrit or Slay the Spire. All right, who the fuck are Poncle? I thought Poncle was Slay the Spire. Oh, Poncle are Vampire Survivors, right? That's who it is. Okay. Anyway, so this is behind a bunch of studios. So Evil Empire, who do Dead Cells, Megacrit, who do Slay the Spire, Red Hook Studios, who do Darkest Dungeon, Heart Machine, who do Hyperlight Drifter, Hyperlight Breaker, a couple of other things, and Poncle, who do Vampire Survivors, are all kind of coming together to do a no-nonsense digital showcase featuring indie titles all streamed in under an hour to respect players and studios' time. Right, that's more of a jab at, you know, the Jeff ads and the Summer Game Fest that go into like 4-hour fucking ridiculousness. The Game Awards has some excuse in that they have to do the actual awards. That's the point of the show, but there's way more trailers than there are awards, and a lot of the time is given over to just fluff nonsense instead of the awards. Anyway, the whole point of the Triple I initiative is just here's the shit. Moving on. We'll see how that works out. 45 minutes of back-to-back trailers and gameplay is going to hurt. Do remember the old state of plays, the original state of plays for Sony when the PS4 didn't have anything yet and all the games were essentially on their way, coming out soon. It was just trailer, and it was like, yeah, this is cool, but you hit the 30-minute mark and you're like, there's so many, I've already forgotten, you know? So we'll see how that works out for them. It's bold strategy, Cotton. Since using letters seems to be the trend in the industry, we figured that adding a couple of I's to indie was a fair way to describe this new format. Which is somewhat a jab at the whole AAA idea, or double A, or Ubisoft's attempt at quadruple A, and see how that worked out for them. The show will have no hosting segments, no ads, no sponsorships, no extra fluff, just the games. Again, it's appreciated, but also there's a reason that they do kind of break up stuff like that, so you don't get fatigue. Now, Jeff does it too much because it's 4 hours, and no matter what you do, 4 hours is too much. But back-to-back trailers is also going to feel a bit overwhelming. Anyway, here's all the studios that are allegedly going to be at it. That's a lot of them. I don't know a lot of them. Awaseb are the Chia people, so not sure what they're going to be showing off, unless you're just going to be showing off new stuff from Chia. I recognize some of these names. Maybe not all of them, I recognize some of them. Anyway, moving on. That's some of the industry shit. What's happening in the community instead? So, Dragon's Dogma 2 mod negate the need for microtransactions on PC. So, as anyone could have told you, the people who were complaining on Steam about the microtransactions, literally all you had to do was wait a couple of days and they'd be modded in. And that's what's happened. So, over on Nexus Mods, I think potentially might have been taken down at this point, but it won't be difficult for you to find the mod if you want to. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2 discourse last week was all about, oh, the microtransactions are shitty and, you know, you're trying to just milk more money out of us and you should have been made aware of this in the reviews and so on. Okay, now one, the microtransactions are shit. They should not be there. But they are, and Capcom have priors for it, so you should have expected it. Should you be okay with it? No, but you should have expected it. Don't pretend that you should be shocked about this. And it not being made a note of in reviews, some reviewers did note it in their reviews, so you didn't read it. Or you just selectively chose which reviews to read. And then also some reviewers saw the note about the microtransactions and went, yeah, Capcom do this, whatever. We're aware of that. I don't need to even mention it. And then I guess maybe some thought they were hiding it. I don't know. I doubt there was some grand conspiracy to hide this kind of thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can get a mod now. Many of these purchasable items are available inside the game itself. The only real issue is that they're kind of rare and you gotta go looking for them, but the whole game is about exploration. They won't be hard to find. Anyway, making the option to just outright purchase them maybe seem a little bit more appealing. I mean, I don't know why you're playing the game if you're not going to explore in a game that is about exploring. Anyway, if you don't want to, there are mods. So there's one mod, easy and cheap, Art of Metamorphosis. Art of Metamorphosis is essentially an edit ticket. You can just change what your character looks like after the fact. Usually it's a little while into the game before you can get it, and this mod just essentially just drops it in the first shop. Just buy it, use it whenever you want to then at that point. And then Crazy's shop just adds basically a shit ton of the DLC items into every shop. It's just, you can buy 255 of them, which is a integer max number thing in the back end. Don't worry about it. There's a reason why it's not 999, that's all. You are never going to need that many of that item. It doesn't say how much they cost in the game. I would assume very cheap. Wakestone's five grand. Like, He's sitting on 22 grand now. This is early in the game. No, like any RPG, you're going to be swimming in money by the end of it. Like always, unless you're playing The Witcher. That's like the one game where you aren't swimming in money by the end of the game. Anyway, that is our news for this week. I'm going to leave Pepper Grinder to loop because it's the only new game, but I'm a little annoyed that there's no actual gameplay in it. Anyway, so that's your news for the 25th to the 31st of May. Not May, March. Fuck. 2024. Some interesting updates that I've now forgotten because, of course, because my brain just doesn't work. Fuck's sake, I need to look. Oh, Marvel Rivals, that's what it was, right? Okay, so Marvel Rivals copying Overwatch. It'll probably do decent as long as NetEase don't get too greedy and think they'll be all right with it. Problem is, NetEase get greedy. Anyway, then we have Metal Hellsingers getting a VR port. It's pretty good. If any game is a pretty good shoe-in for a decent VR port, it's definitely that. I am curious how the beat meter, so this kind of UI thing that helps you keep the beat, how intrusive it'll be in VR. Will it stay in your peripheral vision? And then the way PSVR 2 specifically does your peripheral vision, it does foveated rendering, so it'll render in high fidelity specifically what your eyes are looking at, and anything on the outside of that it won't. So I'd be curious to see how the beat thing, UI element, handles that. Will it actually be legible? We'll see. Anyway, your monthly games for PlayStation Plus. I mean, Immortals of Avium, I suppose, is the headliner. If for no other reason, then at least you don't have to spend $80 on it. It's still going for that on the store. Skull, from what I've seen, gameplay of Skull, it looks fun. And now that it's free, you are still paying the subscription fee. I'll probably give that a shot now. It's always been kind of there in the background, and I'll get it at some point, and I'll get it now, I suppose, now that it's essentially part of the subscription. New games, as you can see, Pepper Grinder. Again, there's no gameplay in this trailer, just take my word for it. It's very, very good. It's a very speedy platform type game. Not quite Sonic levels of speed, obviously. He's fastest. Gotta go fast. It's very fluid. It reminded me a lot of Rayman. The Rayman side-scroller games. It reminded me a lot of those games. Anyway, industry bullshit. Layoffs continue. Layoffs continue until morale improves, I guess, or until number go up, as is the case. As has been made kind of abundantly clear, almost every major publisher took the decimation route to make end of March numbers go up for investors. That's why you saw almost everybody did a 10%, 8 to 10% layoff. It's kind of weird that it was all the same number, or the same percentage rather. It's a little suspicious. We should probably look into that. Nobody will, because nobody pays attention to the video game industry shit that's going on. There are other tech companies that, yes, they do need more scrutiny because they affect more people, but you should scrutinize the video game industry just a little bit, maybe just a tiny amount. It won't be hard to find something. Anyway, Phil Spencer accidentally says the quiet part out loud and says all the layoffs were because industry growth wasn't happening, even though the data says it was happening. The issue there is that the growth isn't happening in the right place. It's not happening in the big publishers. The industry growth is happening in the lower end and the indie side of things. Anyway, it's so depressing. AAA Initiative will be adding another showcase that is focused almost primarily on indie games is good. The indie games are where most of the innovation happens now. Wasn't always that way. Back in my day, PlayStation used to have incredible innovation in their games. Did it always work? No. But they tried, and now they just make the same game over and over again. Anyway, that's what's happening over in Video Game Land. What is happening on the channel that is, I guess, not part of Video Game Land, even though it definitely is. Anyway, what's happening on the channel? We have our game card roadmap, what have you, for 2024. These are my planned full Let's Plays for 2024. The vast majority of these are probably not going to happen, but they're still in my plan. Every time I look at Death Stranding and Outer Wilds, I just go, fuck, that's like months of gameplay. Anyway, some changes this week. Alone in the Dark has started, and Stasis Bone Totem has finished. As I said when I was talking about it as part of the new releases section, Stasis Bone Totem is a very good point-and-click game. Really, really well written, great atmosphere, great characterization. Puzzles are a little obscure, but nowhere near as obscure as their original games. I think it's... Plus there's a hint system if you do get really stuck. So all of that, combined with a pinging system as well, which the game did not have, which is essentially, it will just show you all the interactable points on the map. Instead of the original game, we had to do a little bit of pixel hunting to find things. All in all, it's a much better put together game than their original stuff. The original stuff is still good, but you do have to keep in mind that it does not hold your hand in any way, and you really do have to either keep a guide open beside you or just scrutinize every map for absolutely every single pixel. Anyway, that's now available on consoles, so you want to try it out. Alone in the Dark, we started this week. It's been okay. I'm going to talk about it when into the trailers. So we started this on Friday and then played a little bit more yesterday. We almost finished Edward's playthrough last night. And by almost finished, I mean I'm at literally the very last thing. And got extremely pissed off. Now, that was coupled with a couple of things. One, it relied on an element of gameplay. I don't want to go into too much spoilers here, but it relied on an element of gameplay that is probably the weakest part of the game, that I really, really, really dislike. A lot of other parts of the game I really like. The combat. It's combat. I really didn't like. But yeah, we will get to it again. As I said, there were a couple of things at play. One, it was the particular mechanic I just don't like. But the other aspect was it was quite late. It was past midnight, close to 1 o'clock, and since the clocks go forward here, because for some reason we're still doing that, that meant 2 a.m. And it's like, okay, I have to go to bed. I can't, I do have to be up. Well, I actually don't have to be up early, but I don't want to be just knackered for the whole day. Anyway, we'll get back to this on Friday, and then we will start Emily's playthrough. From what I have seen online, there's not a ton of difference between them. Most of it is dialogue lines, and there's one or two sections of the game that might be unique between the characters. We'll see. We could do it anyway. But I'm probably going to play it on easy because I hate the combat. I really do. Moving on. Pacific Drive. So these next two games are games I've been playing off stream. I've been playing a lot of Pacific Drive lately. I have now finished it. I finished the main story. There's still some stuff I can do that's, additional things, but the main plot is now done. It's good. I really like it. I wouldn't normally stick with a crafting survival type thing, but there's something about it being a car. I don't know what it is necessarily, but it's kind of that you have some sort of a symbiotic relationship with the car, because the car is there to keep you alive and to help you get into the center of the zone and do various story things. But at the same time, the car itself breaks down over time from just being subjected to the zone and just stuff, general wear and tear and that kind of thing. And then just getting to put things together. And the car itself picks up quirks along the way. It starts to get its own kind of personality if you decide not to cure the quirks, which some of them I do because some of them are annoying. Might say something about healthcare. Anyway, but some of them are just funny quirks. Like there's one that if you close the door, it honks its horn. It's hilarious. So just leave it alone. It's like, yeah, I know exactly how to cure it and everything, and I've diagnosed it correctly, and it's fine. I don't need to change it. Anyway, moving on, because YouTube has moved me on. A Little to the Left is a game I've also been playing since I finished Pacific Drive. I wanted a new game to play. I'm still playing Pacific Drive, but anyway. A Little to the Left is, as you can see, it's kind of a mini puzzle game. It's got a little bit of unpacking to it, but there's a little bit more logic to the game. The idea is to just arrange things in a pleasing way. sort of thing. So you can do it like smallest to highest, or alternating your stamps, or just setting a placemat, or setting up your desktop and stuff like that in a nice way. And this cat comes in and ruins shit for you every now and then. It's really chill. It's just a really kind of chill, cozy puzzle thing. Normally I get a little burnt out on these. I either get burnt out on them or I get frustrated that there isn't more of it. So not unlike Unpacking, I would have liked Unpacking to have had more levels. Now, to be fair with Unpacking, it is a very good game. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Tells a pretty decent story, even though there's no dialogue, no story setup, no narrative or anything like that. You can still sort of infer a story from it. That's all pretty good. I would have liked more levels, even if there was no story element to it. Just more levels. Unpacking an office, unpacking a hospital room, unpacking a gamer studio, like any of that kind of stuff. Huge amount of asset work. I know that's why you'll probably never see it, but if I wanted to, that's what it would be. A Little to the Left has a little bit of that as well. I have actually finished, technically, A Little to the Left. It's a short enough game. Although saying short enough, it's like 100 puzzles in it. And some of them have multiple solutions to them as well. What kind of sets it apart a little bit is it has a thing called a daily tidy, which is one puzzle every day. That is not unique necessarily. I think they rotate them, but there's enough of them that at least, it doesn't feel like they're rotating them too much. And it gives you just another hit of it. You're not sitting through the whole game again. You just do one a day. Perfect for a mobile game, to be honest. Perfect for handheld, I suppose, as well. This is specifically for the Switch trailer, but it is on PlayStation and Xbox as well. And PC. It's on everything. Actually, I think there is a mobile version of it. If there isn't, there is one soon. And if they're not working on it, they should, because it's fucking perfect for a tablet. Yeah, it's kind of stuff like Storyteller that we played recently. Not recently, it's ages ago, actually. Storyteller is also a puzzle game that was too short. It needed more. And there is DLC for it now, but at the time it was quite a short game. Curse of the Golden Isle is the same thing. It's like, I really like the concept, I just want more puzzles like it. And it felt kind of short. And similarly also has DLC, but again, at the time I played it, it didn't. This gets around the need. Now, also there is DLC for this game, but it gets around the need to buy it because it has this daily tidy thing that I really like. Hopefully I can stick with it, because there's trophies associated with it, and I'm close to a platinum on the game, so I'm gonna stick with it. Anyway, that's what I've been playing off stream. Anyway, next week, here is our schedule. So we're going to continue with Banishers Tuesday and Wednesday. We're getting close to the end of Banishers now. We're in one of the last areas, I think. You have this area that we're in now, and then probably the final area. Thursday, I don't know what I want to swap in for Fully Fables yet, so for now, I'm just going to put Monster Hunter in. It's been a while since I've played Monster Hunter. It's been a while since we've done a stream or a video of it. But it's always in the currently playing section. You can just look under my face. It's in there. It's been there for ages, and I haven't put a new video out or a new stream out in a good while. So I want to get back to that, and I want to get back to that before Monster Hunter Wilds releases. And I do want to play Monster Hunter Rise as well, which is an entirely separate Monster Hunter game. It's another 200 hours or something. So I gotta get fucking started. So we're gonna add Monster Hunter in. I might make Monster Hunter just a weekly thing. Just put it in. Just make Monster Hunter Day. Maybe we'll do Thursday as Monster Hunter Day, or maybe Saturday as Monster Hunter Day, so I can stream a little bit longer with it. Anyway, I don't know yet. Friday, Saturday, Alone in the Dark. We will almost certainly finish Edward's section, even if I have to drop the difficulty down to baby mode for the combat, because good god. Anyway, we will finish Edward's section on Friday, and then we'll move straight into Emily's and move on to that on Saturday, and then possibly finish it at the end of Saturday, since I know what I'm doing now. We don't have to spend so much time exploring. That says UTC plus 0. It should say UTC plus 1. I forgot to update it. Time zone has changed. So if you are watching from not Ireland or the UK, yeah, things are going to be an hour later than you're expecting. Not that any of you are actually watching, because I can see because I can see the numbers, but whatever, it's there. Maybe you're someone who waits for the VODs, and in that case, the VODs will be a little bit later than you're expecting. Anyway, that's it for me for today. I have very important business to get to now. I have a lot of chocolate to eat. Lots of it. This is why I couldn't go to bed late, because I have so much chocolate I need to eat today. Right. And I'm going to play a little bit of the Stellar Blade demo, and then probably some more Pacific Drive, because I'm really into it right now. Right, have a good rest of your day. Hopefully I will see you on Tuesday for Banishers, or Wednesday for Banishers, or Thursday for Monster Hunter World, or Friday for Alone in the Dark, or Saturday for Alone in the Dark, or back here again on Sunday for the weekly news recap. Right, have a good one. Bye-bye.